there are three reasons why we break down under stress. One of them is outside our control. I have to acknowledge that. One of them is trauma, okay? And trauma in the book, in the book, we define the sources of stress in 4 quadrants. We call them a ton of stress, T-O-N-N, okay? Basically, external or internal. So is it from outside you or inside you? Okay, and is it major in size or small in size? Okay, so if it's major and from outside you, it's called trauma. Okay, if it's major and from inside you, it's called obsession, the T-O. Okay, obsession is, you know, for example, how we have, some of us will have a script around our parents, for example, and we keep obsessing about them over and over, and it can take you a lifetime to go through that script. You know, if it's from inside you and small in magnitude, it's all of those nuisances and noise. We call them noise. Is, you know, I walk by the you know, the hotel elevator, and then I go like, oh, what's that little belly, right? That, you know, it's not gonna kill me, that comment, but if I keep saying it every day, it adds up, right? And then noise, and then nuisances, T-O-N-N, are external from outside you. External and small, right? External and small, like what? Like the noisy alarm that you have in the morning. Who here wakes up with an alarm every day? And how loud is the alarm if it's loud and annoying? Okay, great. Yeah. So that in itself is the very first jolt of cortisol in your blood before you even woke up, as you're waking up, right? So I said there are 3 reasons we break. The first is trauma, right? And trauma is an external major stressor that comes from outside. You have a very, you know, painful breakup, you know, you lose a job, you lose a loved one, you get in an accident, you know, people who work in intensive care units in the NHS or whatever. These are very, very high level of traumas to either experience suffering at a very high level or to witness the suffering of others at a very high level. And trauma, sad to say, will break at least 90% of us at least once in your lifetime, okay? 91 to be very specific. 91% of us will have a PTSD-inducing traumatic event, the highest level of traumatic events once in your lifetime, okay? That's the bad news. The good news is 93% will recover in 3 months, right? And 96.7% will recover in 6 months. And all of those that recover will enjoy something called post-traumatic growth, okay? So while we tell ourselves that we don't like to be broken by a trauma, while I wish for none of you to ever be broken by a trauma, it's actually not the reason for the stress pandemic we feel in the world today, right? It comes, it goes. And by the way, those numbers are from the 9/11 victims. Huh? So these are people that were in the Twin Towers when the planes hit, okay, or in the vicinity. And 96.7% would recover in 6 months. So what then breaks us? What breaks us are, in my view, burnout and anticipation of a threat. Okay? Burnout is, again, in physics, remember when they used to do those experiments where you can easily break 1 stick of wood, but you can't break 5 of them together, right? At the same time, you can take a very big object, and if you apply multiple forces to it, you can break it, right? So if this chair can take my weight, I think it can, not such a big belly, but it wouldn't take 10 of us standing on it. So the more challenges you add to the object, the more the object will break, the easier the object will break. And burnout is exactly the result of that. And the thing about it is it's very sneaky, okay? So burnout is the sum of all of the challenges you face multiplied by the intensity of each of them, multiplied by the frequency of application, multiplied by the time of application or the duration of application, right? So if you take a simple stressor like your commute, if you commute and the commute is incredibly stressful, it's not on the Elizabeth line, but it's on one of the other very difficult ones, right? Which one? Piccadilly, I think, is the one that kills me. One of them squeaks. Which one is that? Oh my God, that's so like... and I really, if it wasn't raining, I would walk, but it's always raining. So what, but you have to think about that. If the commute is more difficult, it's likely to burn you out more, right? And if you do it every day, imagine if you do it 3 times a day, and imagine if you do it for the whole line, right? So interestingly, you just sum them up in very simple mathematics. You sum all of those up. When they exceed your ability to take the stress, your resources, you'll break. Okay? The thing, funny enough, is that you don't break because suddenly a mega challenge came into your life. You broke because your colleague says, hey, good morning. And you go like, don't good morning me, like I can't take another thing today, right? And that's quite interesting, huh? So we could try to prevent the last good morning, okay? But that's not the answer. The answer is to prevent all of the sum of all of those challenges that come into my life. And to be quite honest, I find this staggering that this is not an exercise that you do on a weekly basis, okay? So I urge you, please, on Saturday, to take a piece of paper and write down every little thing that stressed you this week. Every little thing. The commute stressed me, the coffee was cold, my colleague said this, social media did that, my neck is hurting. Write down every single one of them, okay? And literally, with a red pen, scratch out the ones that you can remove. You literally want to remove them from your life. As I said, the loud alarm, replace that with lovely meditation music, okay? That gets louder over time. Huh? Don't spend more time than you need on social media. Make sure that your neck and arms are not hurting because you're holding your phone all the time. This is one side of dealing with it. The other side of dealing with it is and ease the intensity of the ones you cannot remove. If you have to be on your commute, okay, don't read your email on your commute. Don't squeeze yourself so that you're stressed on time. Take some good music with you, and enjoy the journey somehow, or maybe listen to something that you're interested in.